Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the third episode of Uni Egg After Hours. Today's episode is going to be joined by Faisal, who is a Misk ambassador and has traveled with, or not, rather a Misk student who has traveled with Misk last year to their summer trip abroad to Oxford right there. It's honestly a pleasure to have him here. And if this is your first episode, I'm Mazen, your main host of the podcast. And if you have anything else you'd like to add, Faisal, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, it's my honor to be here. I'm really happy. I'm really excited. And I think that what we're doing is actually really, truly amazing because it's mostly just for the influence and to inspire everyone and just become a public figure, or like a figure for them to look up to and ask and seek for advice for. So
That's
yeah,
true.
I'm
That's
pretty
true.
much excited for this.
Yeah. And like the main purpose of this podcast is to try and have people understand what they're getting into. Some people don't really know what the program is, what the MISC program. And by having this podcast, we can hopefully influence
Yeah.
them and show them the fun parts of the summer trip abroad, what it's really like, especially for the people that don't want to go to John Hopkins all the way in America and rather study in the UK. So first off, as we know, you traveled to Oxford last year with, oh no, this year actually with MISC. And I want to know, what were you expecting beforehand? When you were prepping your bags, getting on the trip or getting on the plane? What were your expectations like? How did it go?
Okay, so first of all, let me explain to you guys why I chose Oxford over John Hopkins. So you mentioned that I died in the UK, which is probably true for a lot of us and myself too. But it was also because of the majority of Misk was going to Oxford. So I just like wanted to hop in as well and meet as many people as I could. Because we've been texting in these group chats for ages. We've been in Discord servers together, but we never really got the chance to actually meet one on one, especially those that are further in Riyadh. And even those that were with me in Jeddah, I never really met them except for like certain occasions. So that was really mostly the reason I went to Oxford. And before we went to Oxford, so I don't know if some of y'all know them, but Saeed and Dirar, okay? In my cohort and probably your cohort, everyone knew them. They based their personality on Misk, okay? So a month before the trip, they post on their story Misk preparation and like post what to pack. I just took all the inspo from them and their stories. I was like, okay,
Mhm,
prayer mat. What? That's all what I did. Plus,
mhm.
Oxford was actually kind enough to give us a list of things we need to pack and everything we'd need. I also used this opportunity to go shopping and get more clothes, so that was the fun part of it. And then for the rest, I was like, خلاص, بتوكل على Allah, and whatever I need, I'm gonna just get there. And I actually didn't end
Yeah.
up needing much. I got too much clothes, too much of everything, because everything is really provided. You just need the basics.
Yep.
But I'd
And
say that a big part of the excitement, a big part of the fun is that thrill of being scared that you forgot something, that thrill of packing and be like, oh, what do I need? That's the thrill you need. That's
yep.
that like the joy part of it.
True. And it's like I was just like watching the stories. I've also seen the stories of Dirar, I think, or Nero, Saeed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nero Said, yeah.
And yep. And I was really wondering like how stressful it would be trying to prepare yourself for a trip 3 weeks long away from your parents and stuff. What were you
Mm.
expecting when you were going through this? Like, did you really need that many clothes? And on the side of like the lifestyle there, what were you expecting to do and what were you expecting to happen?
Okay. So first of all, I thought it would be cold. Okay. And if you're going to the UK, I'm gonna just tell you, the weather is bipolar. Okay. I promise you, I'd go out in shorts and it's very sunny and hot. Am I laggy, by the way?
No, no, you're working out every now and then. You might spike a bit, but it's working out.
Okay, so I thought I'd like see the weather is all sunny and shiny and it's hot and they're like their sunny is like sticky type of icky type of hot. Like it's not that cool hot. I rather prefer this heat. So I'd go out in shorts. Dead ass, I kid you not. 20 minutes later it's raining. It doesn't make sense. So I didn't prepare for that. I didn't get umbrellas. We had Dirar stealing all of our umbrellas, and then he only confessed like 2 weeks after we came back, and that we were like, oh, those are where umbrellas were.
Mhm.
And but I think it was okay. I lost the question to be honest.
Yep. Well, your expectations, you're expecting it to be pretty hot and stuff, or pretty cold, actually, you said, right?
Yeah, yeah, pretty cold.
Yeah. How
But it
about
turned out to be
the
bipolar.
yeah, how about the program itself? What were you expecting from the activity, the action, the studying?
Mm.
What did you expect?
I took engineering. So in
Mm.
Oxford, we had a broad choices of majors or courses we could pursue. Unlike John Hopkins, which has I think only medicine, I'm not so sure. But we
Yep,
had a lot of
med and
choices. And I picked,
astronomy.
yeah, so I picked engineering personally. And I think a lot of us picked engineering. It was like 50% of us were into engineers. And we're into engineers is crazy. But anyways,
Keep going.
50% of us were like in the engineering course, and I thought it would be
Mm-hmm.
mostly math, so I wasn't so excited about it. But I want to be an engineer, so I wanted like an insight of how an engineering course would be like. So
Mm-hmm.
I picked engineering, and I thought it would be all math, but no, it was actually really fun. I could show you videos. We'd like build paper planes. We'd learn about the aerodynamics of planes, build paper planes, and then like start competing, build bridges, and look at which bridge looks nicer and can carry the most weight. And it was all made out of paper. We took a little bit of physics though. We took almost all types of engineering. The classes were just like three classes a day, and they were like each 90 minutes. And between each class, like we'd have breaks. So in each break, we'd also have fun, refresh our minds, get back into class. And the classes are very interactive. The teachers are so nice. Each one of us had like a different like we were classes of 20 mixed with Europeans, you know? Unlike classes here, they're very interactive in a sense of like where there's so much respect that if someone speaks and start debating, we'd all just listen and actually listen to his opinion, you know? I remember Darar wasn't in my class, and I'm gonna mention this guy a lot because he was like the comedy stand-up of our, and I mean this literally, he was a comedy stand-up of the entire trip, you know? Like he just, in the last couple days, he'd walk up into our class and just start speaking about aliens. And I swear to God, he wasn't even in our class. He just like went in, said, you know what, I'm gonna
Okay.
speak. Took a mic
Yeah.
that we didn't know was there, started speaking about aliens. I was like, yeah, typical him.
Okay. So the main idea here is that you've been talking more about like the how it's like more interactive and such. And
Yeah,
one point I wanted to touch up on that first you were joined by Europeans and your professors. Who were your
yeah,
professors? And were you guys joined by other people from Europe or from the UK?
yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you how this happened.
Mm-hmm.
All of us, the Miskies, we kind of had privilege because we'd have two badges. One was orange to tell them that we were from Misk, and one was blue, which was like the normal Oxford course
Mm-hmm.
badge. And through the whole, we were divided into multiple campuses. There was St. Cat's, which is mine. There was Balliol, and there was another one. Okay. So we were divided into three campuses, and each campus would have like dorms next to each other and activities with each other and so on. Uh, the campus had about like I'd say 150 people, and of Miskies there were like 50. So we were mixed up with a lot of Europeans,
Yep.
but we came a day earlier. So the first day we had to ourselves. The second day, some American guy from LA comes to me and he's like, "Yo, where's AK?" I'm like, "Who's AK?" He's like, "He's Saudi as well."
Mm.
I'm like, "I don't know an AK," and it ended up being Abdul Karim. Get it? So Abdul Karim was
Uh-huh.
AK, and since then we
Mm-hmm.
called him AK because like Europeans and Americans would call him AK.
How do they know
And
him?
since I don't know. They just came in on like Sunday and
Mm-hmm.
they went to the dining hall and they were like, "Yo, where's AK?" I'm like, how did this guy even get to meet them, you know?
Yeah,
But he was a really chill guy. He's from Riyadh as well. So
it's pretty
um
cool.
we got along with them as well. Like I've made a lot of European friends to this day. Like we'd catch up on with they were really nice, very respectful. I remember like we kind of like took over a bit as well. So like evening shout outs, we'd sing the national anthem and all Saudis would stand
Mm-hmm.
up and there's like the Lebanese would just join us in. So like Faisal just took over.
Okay, yeah. All right, so it was a very like mixed experience. How
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the how about the professors? Were they people from Misk or from the program? Who were they?
Okay. Okay. So we had Miss counselors around, but they didn't teach us the courses themselves. They were just there for
Mhm,
guidance or like if we need help or assistance or if we want to like change our flights, what so on. They were just there, you know?
mhm.
But we had two counselors from a company called IDG. I remember it was Deji and then I know I don't remember the second one. It was Deji and there was like a woman, I think it wasn't Kelly. Anyways, they were like our personal. guiders, like our personal like mentors, So we'd have a journal, and every single day we'd have to journal and speak to them about it, speak to them about our improvements, our goals, our problems, what so on. Like those one-on-one counseling sessions, except they were like in real life and
Hmm.
about you, not about colleges. So
Yeah.
that we had them 24/7, okay? And then we had the teachers that were assigned to each class. So in my class, it was Mr. Akini. And each teacher was very different. Some of them were Oxford graduates, some of them were even college students, some of them were just engineers. And they teach us the course for like 2 weeks. And honestly, I think each one of us had a unique teacher. I remember they all were like fangirling over the law teacher, Miss Kelly, and she's posted on the Oxford account, by the way. Another teacher was really cool. He was called Elias, and he was Algerian, and I'd always like come to him in breaks and just like talk to him about life and what so on. And I think they were just like unique. They were like more relatable. You could talk to them about anything, but they were like so good at their profession as well. And this teaching style is so different from here. It was like it's more personal. It's more respectful. It's more you catch up to me. I'm not gonna wait and sit down
Yeah.
until you get it, which I like because that makes you grow.
Okay. So it's like what I've seen is like it's very, very interactive. You're very
Mm,
connected with the people and
yeah,
such. But moving away from this talk about the professors and such, what was the dorm like? What were the dorms, the lifestyle outside of school? What did you guys do in
yeah,
your
yeah.
free time?
That was like most of the time. So for those that are scared that you're gonna go there and you're gonna study 24/7, what so on, no, that's not true. Sometimes you do have projects to do, but they're teamwork and they take you like 2 hours. So you're okay. Okay. You have a lot of fun at the same time. But
Hmm.
you also are happy because at the same time you feel productive. So it's like two birds with one stone. Anyways, how are the dorms? I said we had 3 campuses, and each campus would have different dorms. I'll speak for St. Cat's. St. Cat's was very random. Some of us would have a suite, some of us would have a sink, some of us would have nothing. Okay.
Hmm.
But the cool thing is though that we were divided into dorms, and each dorm had like maybe 4 other miskies. So my dorm was dorm 4, and I had like 4 other miskies, and we just like dead ass. We'd leave our doors open and wake each other up. So like if someone walked in on me in the middle of the night and stole my stuff, it could happen, but it didn't. It was
Hmm.
like the chest was like through the roof. I just like leave the door open. People could come in, come out, wake me up, what's so on. We'd stay up all night talking about stuff. I promise you, that was the best part. Like we just sit there at 11 p.m., supposed to be asleep, and we just like talk about life.
That's so fun,
Um,
yeah.
that is really
Just
fun. Sometimes, oh, okay, this guy's called
you.
Mr. Ian. He's Scottish. Okay, I cannot imitate his
Hmm.
accent, but I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's Scottish and he had a really funny accent. And we'd sometimes want to go into like a different dorm. So like it was buildings, like dorm 8,
Hmm.
what so on. And we couldn't pass curfew. But
Okay.
sometimes, in like those horror movies where it's all dark and someone has a
Yeah.
flashlight and they're like walking around and trying to catch people. So we'd have that. And I live for the thrill of it. So like we'd go out, hide behind bushes, the
Hmm.
flashlight is there. We go there. Go to the other dorms, stay
No
there.
way.
Fucking I promise you that will happen. Sometimes Mr. Ian, and he's like the head guy of the place. We would go
Mhm.
like, if I didn't hear it, if I didn't see it, it didn't happen. So we took that as a yes. We just go for it, but
Okay.
no one can
Hmm.
catch us. Sometimes we'd go to the laundry room because beyond curfew, we just had the excuse to like do our laundry. And that laundry room had so many memories. I promise you, there's this like, one pic of a guy sleeping in the laundry room. And you have to post this, but we had a Misky sleeping account. Do you know about it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've heard of it. Yeah,
You
I haven't
have
followed
you
it though. Yeah.
you have to post it. It was the best part of it. Like, no one was safe. We had pictures of Darar
Hmm.
sleeping in the laundry, and we take a picture of it. We had fights
Hmm.
breaking out there. We had everything going on in the laundry all at night.
Yeah, that's the hangout spot. Yeah.
That was the hangout spot. That was it. I remember that.
Yep.
But then they kicked us out.
Okay.
They
All
kicked
right.
us out.
Like you're talking about so many events and you're saying like you've had so many fun memories and such. But what was
Yeah,
your favorite one? What was something that really stood out? Something that involved lots of people, for example?
something that involved lots of people. My favorite in memory.
Just the top of
Hmm.
your head. You don't have to think too deep. Just something that you remember right now. What's a memory? Any memory.
What's the memory? Yeah, teaching the Europeans and especially the Germans how to like speak Arabic. So
Hmm.
like I just walk in, say goodnight, and I hear them the other side of the street cussing me in Arabic. I'm like, what? I
Yeah,
just like
okay. You
my guy
guys told
just
him the wrong
drops.
stuff. Yeah.
That
You guys told
that
him the
that
wrong.
yeah, 100%. I was like, what? And then they like start speaking Arabic. I'm like, what is going on? And it's so funny because of their accent. Another good
Mhm.
memory is um every day when we wake people up. It's so funny. It is so
Hmm.
funny because I have this friend called Des, and we'd wake him up. He'd be standing and he'd be like awake.
Hmm.
We leave the room, he's back asleep. And it happens over and over and over again. We just give
Yeah.
up at this point. Another good memory is there's this mall called like West Park, and
Hmm.
it was like the hangout spot. So every break, every free time when we could go out, we'd go to the mall. You'd find everyone from all campuses there, you know? Like you'd find them in the mall, standing up in a circle, playing this game where like you slap each other's hands until you say ow. I'm like, what's
Yeah.
going on? This is like a fever dream.
Hmm. And
And another good memory, wait, I'm having a lot, I'm sorry.
yeah, go
Another
ahead, go
good
ahead. Let's
one,
hear them all.
which is actually my favorite, personally my favorite, is when like you'd have like a one-on-one talk in the street, just sit down, do nothing, and just have a one-on-one talk. And the thing is, you go there and you breathe air, like you feel the oxygen, it's so good and it's good views all the time. So those one-on-one conversations hit hard.
Yeah. It's like I love the vibe about Oxford in comparison to John Hopkins. What I've heard from our previous podcast is that with John
Mm.
Hopkins, you're confined to just the campus itself. You're not allowed to
Yeah.
leave. You're trapped there. But now,
Mm.
like you're telling me, like in break, you're allowed to go to a mall. What were your restrictions like? What was your area that you're allowed to walk in and do stuff?
Our restrictions were time,
Hmm.
not the places. So we'd
Okay.
have restricted time. So let's say we had to be at dinner at 6 and then evening curfew at 9:45, you know?
Yep.
So like that was a restriction of time and we had to walk to these places. So
Yeah.
Oxford is like a walking town. You barely use cars there because there's not no barely any streets for cars or parkings whatsoever. Taxis are expensive. So we'd have to walk and the walks are like 20 to 30 minutes. Each one of us
Mhm.
had like over 22K steps a day. It was
Uh-huh.
crazy. Yeah, so we'd have to walk, and a lot of these walks would just like have talks, and they were fun, yeah, but they were time consuming. So we'd go to the mall, stay there for an hour, go back. Get it?
Yep. And so you're able to go as far as you want in Oxford and such. But
Yeah,
how about
100%.
the
No one
weekend
knows where you
activities?
are.
Okay, so you got the
No one knows
freedom
where
and
you
such.
are.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's mainly because like Oxford is considered a safe place
Yeah,
with
John
John
Hopkins isn't.
Hopkins.
It isn't
Yeah,
that safe.
yeah, I've heard that they heard gunshots and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, not a place you want to have kids walking around in.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
what I wanted to know is like you've got your weekly schedule, right? Every day you got school, you've got
Yeah.
breaks every now and then. But how about on the
Mm.
weekends? On Saturdays and Sundays, I believe, not Fridays. What did you
Yeah.
guys do?
Okay, so week one Saturday, we just had the whole day for Miskies because the Europeans and Americans didn't come in yet.
Mhm.
So it was just a day on campus. We got to know each other actually. On the first day, they just pulled up boxing gloves. And I'm talking about the boys because it was basically in these dorms, it was like men being men, you know?
Mhm.
It was men being men. They get like boxing
Mhm.
gloves and like start like throwing punches as a joke, of course.
Yep.
So we just got to know each other and so on. On the second Saturday, we went to London. So we had a 1 hour, 2 hour bus trip, which one of us, Lai Saleh, had the speaker, and we all hated him for it because the music
The song
wasn't that
taste.
good.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, because
Okay.
they were fighting for the music the entire bus ride,
Mhm.
you know?
Yep.
So, but it was a good memory though. And we went to London and we hated that we couldn't have much free.
You've lagged out here just yet. Okay. He's connected to audio. Faisal, how you doing, mate?
Sorry,
G'day, mate.
I like that.
Well,
Hey.
welcome back. Welcome back. We were just talking about how you guys didn't like the lack of freedom in London.
Yeah,
And
so
what was that
yeah.
like? What do you guys do?
Okay. So we went to think at 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Okay. And we went
Mhm.
there and all the others in Oxford had the freedom to do whatever they wanted. But us Miskies, as privileged as we are, and as much as we didn't easily get kicked out because like we had more chances because we were Miskies, we were privileged. But in London, we had to visit King's College because it was educational, so we had to
Mhm.
have a tour of a King's College, which was okay because now I have an insight of King's College. but at the same time, I wish I had the freedom. But it's an okay
Yeah.
sacrifice.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to touch upon the idea of getting kicked out. I've heard some stories that somebody
Okay,
or some people got kicked out. What
okay,
happened? And how severe were
okay.
their actions? Without naming
Um,
anyone.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So all I've heard is that one person got kicked out. I don't think it was like several people and so on. That
Hmm.
one person that got kicked out. The reason on why they get kicked out, I've heard like five different stories. So no one
Okay.
can really tell
Okay.
for sure. I cannot speak for them. It was just like five different stories. One was like, oh,
Hmm.
they came late. One was like substances, whatever. We don't know for sure.
Substances.
But we don't know for sure because people exaggerate at the same time, you know?
Yeah, what I heard from my point of view, I have some eyes and ears over there. What I was
Okay.
told is that somebody was out on the street dancing and singing, and like people were recording them, and it was like they embarrassed Misk or they just ruined the reputation. Like they were making
Okay.
a mockery.
If that was the case, then
Hmm.
I think over 10 of us would have been kicked. Because
Okay, okay, yeah.
And again, if you could put this, I have videos of us like finding some African guy singing in the street, and like all 10
Uh-huh.
of us would just like join in and sing with them.
So
That was
fun.
a good
Okay,
one.
where could we find that?
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
Okay, sure, sure. All right. Okay, so you're saying that if the rules were that strict, most of you guys would have
No,
been kicked.
they weren't
If they
that
were,
strict. Like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. If they were that
If
strict,
they
but no,
were.
they weren't.
Okay, well, how about the rules that you did break? What were they? What'd you do
Oh,
besides the late night going out?
oh. I'd say I was a good kid, honestly.
We won't show this
I
to
didn't.
Misk, don't worry.
No, no. I think I didn't break any rules. We couldn't be at each other's dorms when we were supposed to sleep, so we'd
Hmm.
have that every single night. So I wouldn't worry about
Yeah.
that. Um, oh,
Yep.
there was this one time we had to be at this like place for I think the Safir was like would come in and talk to us, okay?
Hmm.
So after that we were supposed to get right away to campus. I just took a sharp turn, left them all behind, and just did what I wanted, and then came in later and I was like, oh, I got lost.
And it
But
worked
that
out.
and it worked
You didn't fall
out.
for it.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
they caught me twice, and they were like, "Come back," and I was like, "Okay."
Mhm.
And then like third turn, I was like, "This is the time."
Mhm.
You know, when I had this one guy that looked dirty with us, this one guy called Sef Sharif, Sef Habib,
Okay.
Sef Habib. We had Sef Sharif and Sef Habib. Sef Habib, I promise you. First day we saw him at the airport, he's from Riyadh.
Yeah.
Okay, we all
Yep.
thought he was a counselor. He worked at Misk, what so on. He had a full beard. He looked like a 30-year-old guy.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe that he was like with us, but then like next day he was like next to me in the dorms, and I was
Hmm.
like,
After it
"What?"
all
He was with us.
fell upon you.
Yeah,
All right. Well, we've got less than 10 minutes left on this call, so just to wrap up anything, what kind of lessons did you learn from this experience traveling with Misk, going abroad, living with your friends? Any
yeah,
lessons you learned? Anything? Any tips you want to give to everybody else?
yeah. Okay, so I gave that tip to like a couple of miskies, but I feel like if I look back at me in 10th grade, and I wouldn't say I wasn't grown up. 10th graders are grown up, but there's so much you haven't seen beyond the walls of your school. Some of us put up masks to fit in, to be happy, but that's not truly what happiness is, you know? Happiness does not equal fun. You can have all the fun you want, but you're not necessarily happy because you're probably putting on a mask or because you're with the wrong people. So my tip is really truly go beyond the walls of your school and find people that you truly like, people that you truly could have fun with and still be happy with, and at the same time also maybe productive with, you know? And a major example of this is all those missed group chats. You have all the fun, you can be yourself. There's no set expectation or limitation to the character you are or who you're supposed to be in front of these people. You can be whoever you want. So really go beyond the walls of your school. And a really good example for me was Misk. You know, I've met truly great people. I really figured out who I was, and it led me to more extracurriculars. So before I joined Misk, I had barely any, and now I just subconsciously did so much just being with the
Yeah.
right people.
Yeah, and like lots and lots of stuff that you benefit from this program. You know, not only the
Yeah,
extracurriculars and the people that you meet, you've got the counselors that really help you understand what's going on, help you understand where you should look, what you should do, and stuff. I feel like that's a very, very powerful part about this program itself.
100%,
And
100%.
yep, for sure, for sure. If you could give just one quote to everybody or one piece of advice besides the mask thing, in just one simple sentence, what would you tell people?
Be more aware.
Be
Be
more
more
aware.
aware of who you are,
Mm-hmm.
why you are the way you are, and then why people around you are the way they are. Because if
And
you can answer these questions, you can really take your life within your hands. You're in control of your life, of your fate. And truly, once like you start seeing those minor steps, you start seeing what you really can do, you know?
that's true. That's true. You really want to understand what you've got so you can,
Yeah,
shoot for the
be aware
stars.
of it. Exactly.
Yep. Well, lots of motivation words here, lots of benefits, I'm sure. And to
Thank you.
close this podcast here, what tips would you give somebody who's going to the trip this year or next year? Sorry. What tips,
Who's going to the
advice?
trip next year? Do not be afraid to walk up to anyone and just talk to them. Make as many friends as you can. Use this opportunity as a chance to enhance your social skills, your communication, what so on. Even if there were
Mm-hmm.
people that are from Japan, all the way from Japan, just walk up to them and ask them what their name is. Everyone is friendly, bro. Just go for it. Don't be afraid. It's not enclosed anymore. People are there on the same boat
Mm-hmm.
as you are. They all want to make friends. So just take a step.
That's nice. That's nice. Definitely some piece of advice I can appreciate and take and
Yeah,
work on. And that's it really for the podcast. Thank you for being here, Faisal. It was a
of
pleasure having
course.
you. Lots
Thank
of
you too.
advice, lots of fun talking with you. And that's it. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye,
All
Faisal.
right.